This conference will now be recorded.
Hello? There, I got something.
Got audio now?
Audio?
Looked like it on
Looks like it's,
your picture.
okay,
Looks like it.
Yep.
audio. Okay, we're good now.
Hey,
All right,
all right,
Thank you.
enjoy.
thank you. Well, we have an agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve the agenda.
Pam made a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that. Go ahead, Jim. Okay.
Okay, Jim second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Approve the minutes of the July 29th meeting. Any additions or corrections needed?
Make a motion for the 29th meeting?
All right, Mark made a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Todd second. Any further discussion?
Roll call, Todd,
Aye.
Sydney,
Aye,
Mark,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Jim.
motion passes. Well, no county attorney this morning. Doesn't look like sheriff is here this morning. Department head discussion?
So I just have a comment. I contacted Tim Whipple and he said he would be willing to set up a Zoom workshop if that works for you folks. He's not available this week, but he would be available sometime next week, just not Tuesday afternoon. So when do you're gonna be gone down to the Iowa State Fair all next week. Is that right?
Well, I'll be here
Tuesday morning?
Tuesday, but. Probably good.
Do it during our meeting or not?
We could do it during our meeting, or we could do it right after our meeting, just a short workshop for him to answer the questions that anybody has. Does that work better?
Do a separate workshop.
I
Stuff
think,
like that.
I think he was leaning more towards that direction.
Do we have public hearings next week? Do you have her book by any chance? Do we have a public hearing next week?
Yeah, all I see she has written down Northwood meeting 9:30 a.m. on Friday. That's all she's got.
But for like next week, is it, oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything written down.
The 12th, I don't remember if that was a budget amendment or not.
I think it is. Which won't take very long.
I have
It's
a
just-
public hearing written down for 9 o'clock on the 26th.
So I
That's for the wastewater, would that be right?
okay. Well, maybe we pushed it back.
The wastewater? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because we added that.
Okay.
We'll talk about that shortly.
Well, I think
Yeah,
we could do something, next Tuesday, if we do it
in the morning after our,
10:30.
Okay. okay,
We'll just note down that, make sure it's not too long.
Okay,
Next week.
no,
10:30?
you just said you'll answer what questions you have and
Yeah.
address some of the,
Let's do that.
okay.
Thank you. Any other department head? Oh, all right. County engineer updates.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Few things. We'll be turning in, I went through our bridges a little bit for that possible grant opportunity. And we had 6 bridges that could qualify. 3 of them are already submitted for grants or being built. So I picked 2 of the 3 to put in. One of them is Stillwater Bridge. It's down there. It's on a curve. It's a longer bridge, kind of narrow. That one is poor rated and doesn't allow for the all systems overweight permits that are established. So, and it's a narrow bridge and it's going to be more of an expensive bridge that it would be nice to be able to get grant money for. The other structure is, it's a box culvert just north of the 7-mile curve on Monument Avenue. On that stretch of road, it takes over 1,000 vehicles a day, and I understand it's a box culvert, but that structure is restricting that whole route to the state line as far as being for the overweight permit. So I thought if we could maybe get that put in through a grant, that would get that one knocked out pretty quickly. So those 2 bridges, we're only allowed to submit 2 bridges. Now, whether we even get selected at all is, first of all, they've got to decide, the group is going to have to decide whether they want to even sponsor a grant, and then they've got to pick from 99 counties, and everybody's going to put 2 bridges in, so it's 200 bridges roughly. So we'll see where it goes. We've got to get the stuff turned in yet. So that's that. The bridge project south of McIntyre, they're working on the North Pier. They've been fighting high water, but they've got their sheet piling driven, so I think that they're still driving piling yet. They've got the North Pier to do, and I think the south abutment to do yet. So they're staggering some things, but they've been fighting some high water. On Friday last week, the contractor started trying to pave on the truck route and got about, 50 feet. And the paver quit working, so they ended up having to throw about 90 yards of concrete away. Wish we'd had something ready for them before, but whatever. So that's there. They started yesterday then in the morning, got about 2,400 feet, and the plant broke down. So they're fighting some mechanical issues, but I think they're still gonna try to, they should be getting going today again. I just don't know what time that'll be. And finally, our shoulder project, we're still continuing to do that that shouldering done, and the contracts for that paving will be, I think Rita sent out today, so. That's the update on construction and maintenance.
Figure out a way to shoulder better.
We're gonna rent a machine that we can back regular dump trucks up to. The shoulder units we have, we only got 2 of them and they're just kind of slow, but if we can get that machine, we can run more trucks through this, in the system and get it done a lot quicker. So right now we're doing we're still doing what we can with what we have as far as that goes, but I think once we get a machine, somebody had rented it just before we wanted to rent it, so I don't know if it'll come, if we get it this week or next week, so. But it'll be a lot faster because we can run the regular dump trucks back into the machine and dump on it, kind of like the old shoulder machines that they dump in, so.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion and possible action on CLP application for Dungy's Furniture and Floors. Looks like Jenny is online today.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a $20,000 request from Mark Dungy's for some renovations at the project site at 734 Main Street in Osage. So just looking for, I guess, an approval for the $20,000 request.
You met all the parameters as far as the numbers I see here, correct?
Correct. His estimated renovation costs are going to be $107,400. So you'll just disregard some of his application. What it says in the application, I just worked with him through just what the renovations were. He did purchase a building and some other stuff, but that stuff just doesn't apply towards like this program. So yes, he does. He is eligible for the full $20,000.
And they're projected to move in there this week, next week? Is that right?
I'm not exactly sure about that.
He's
I
got
know-
August 2020. I thought they said something about August. Maybe it's on their window.
I know they're trying to sell a lot of their stuff at the other site right now, discounted and stuff. Exactly when, I'm assuming they're gonna be moving in there soon. They did score, so this was also approved at our meeting on July 28th, and they did score 67 out of the 100 points. So again, enough points to be eligible for these funds.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion for the CLP grant or application for Dungy's Furniture.
Mark made motion, is there a second?
Second.
Jim second. Any further discussion?
Roll call, Sydney,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Todd,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Mark.
Motion passes. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Number 8, discussion possible action on wastewater pre-treatment insurance.
Okay, so we've been talked about this a little bit, and I'll pass this around to the board. This shows the replacement cost value that is determined by the assessor, and Department of Insurance is, I'll let you get your documents. So on the right-hand side is the replacement cost value. There's an office building. The office building actually is an office building and a shop area. Then they have those tanks. So come to the total of all the replacement costs, and on an annual basis, the premium would be $36,379. It says with updated value. Heartland actually didn't see. The office building is the office building and the shop, and their first numbers were based on just the office area. So I went back to them and said, no, there's more than that. So that's why it says updated values. So this is the dollar amount.
You just get passed on to Valentine, 36,000.
What, how this all started was that, how do I begin this? They pay rent to us every month, and they've done that since the beginning, and started at $5,000 a month. And then it was based on every year, it would go up by the CPI amount. Valent was wondering if, it's in the $6,000 range now. Valent had contacted me and wondered if, basically wanted to justify as far as what that amount was for. So began looking at all of this information, which I've forwarded on to attorneys. But to justify it, this would be paid through that rent that we receive from them. Answer your question, Mark. The rent they pay would be forwarded to what this dollar amount is.
And that's 6,000 a month or 6,000 a month or 6,000 a year?
It's a little bit over 6,000 a month now. And it doesn't come to this dollar amount, but there was an individual, I don't like to say names, but I'll just say his first name, Kelvin. He suggested that another good thought on regards to that, justifying that rent, is to create a decommissioning fund where when this facility is finally to the point that it shouldn't be there, we have dollars amounts to actually decommission it. So that's a topic for another discussion coming up.
Do you happen to know, Lindsay, that rent that comes in, is that going into, we would have to check, because that was originally a TIF project.
It just goes into
It
our
just
general
goes
fund.
into the general fund as their rent.
It was
It was an afterthought, kind of, from what I
it
could
just goes
tell.
into our general fund.
Yeah, when they did the contract.
So what kind of action do you
I just need approval from the board in order to approve the insurance amount for $36,379. Are you addressing the board on this topic, or was that what? Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve, insuring the wastewater treatment plant through Quality Insurance Administration Services for the dollar amount of $36,079. That's the annual premium.
There's a motion by Jim, is there a second?
I will second that.
Todd, second. Any further discussion?
So when's this due? It's 36,000.
I have an invoice now. I'll give it to the auditor's office now.
And I understood that you're gonna do an amendment to adjust for that.
Yep.
In the future.
Yep.
Very near future.
Yep.
From what we discussed last week.
Roll call, Mark?
Aye.
Todd?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Sydney?
Aye.
Pam?
Aye.
Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on consideration of Mitchell County Conservation Parks.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. All right. Handouts for y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, as you folks are aware, County Conservation, we've been looking at doing upgrades to 3 of our campgrounds, kind of similar to what happened with Riverside Park here back in 2018, 19, and 2020. Kind of give you a little bit of background on why we're looking into upgrading our campgrounds, is on the first page there. What do campgrounds provide for Mitchell County is quality of life and economic impact. That's the biggest thing that the campgrounds do. So a study was done in March of 2025 by this system on all 99 county conservation boards on what lakes and campgrounds bring for economic impact. And so they did a study on all 99 counties. And Mitchell County came out to $4.5 million in economic impact at the 6 campgrounds we have. This is only the campgrounds. This does not include bike trails or wildlife areas. This is only the campgrounds. So that shows you what kind of impact camping does have on the economy and stuff of that nature. The other thing that we're looking at, which we've known has been occurring, to give you some stats, is who is camping. The change is occurring as we speak. This is the millennials and Gen Z that are driving the camping world type thing. It's no longer the boomers and Gen X. We are switching into the millennials and Gen Z. In the last year, 65% of campers that have been bought by millennials type thing. The majority of camping is between the ages of 25 to 45 years of age, and it's getting younger as we go. And the problem with that, and it isn't a problem, but what drives that then is what do these individuals want? COVID changed everything when it came to the camping world. Work remotely has become a big thing. So the younger generation will buy the campers, go camping on Friday and Monday because they can work from home or work from their camper type thing. They're no longer required to go to the office on a regular basis. And so what are the younger generations? I call them younger because they're younger than me. But what are the people that are camping? What are they into? It's all about internet access. They want to be able to work remotely, social media. The younger generation cannot live without their phone and being connected. And then access to the TV apps and stuff like that. These are full houses that these people are driving around into the campgrounds. They want full site hookups. They want site camping, they want water, sewer, and they want an upgrade electrical, like I said before. These are 25 to 30 foot campers that they're pulling in. It's like a house on wheels. They want clean and modern shower house facilities, and then they want activities. They want boating, they want hiking, they want bike trails, they want playgrounds. So if you don't have those amenities, they're going to other places. That's what we're finding in the camping world. If you're not keeping up with it, you're going down. A prime example of that is Interstate Park, which is one of the parks that we have. The camping numbers for there the last 5 years continue just going a downward spiral. It's because we don't have the amenities. It's because we don't have site camping. It's also because we don't have internet at the campground. That is what's driving that down. We've seen the big change when we did Riverside Park. Riverside Park's a prime example of how using the urban renewal funds to upgrade the campground work. At the time when we did Riverside Park, we were making about, I think it was around $7,000 a year on that park. Now we make over $45,000 a year on there, and it's full all the time with the site camping, and that's what they're looking for is site camping. But there's group camping that's in here too. We don't want to eliminate that, but this is what the younger generation is going towards. And these renovations were made in mind for the next 20 years. We're not planning just now, we're also planning for the future because we know we're not going to upgrade campgrounds every so often. It's only going to be once in a long-term type thing. And the younger generations want these amenities. Don't fill them, they're going to find other campgrounds to go to. They're going to go to Minnesota, they're going to go to Howard County, they're going to go to the neighboring counties because they're doing the upgrades. To kind of get into the numbers, we'll start here with Halverson Park. As you can see, we've created new roadways into the park. So the one thing that we're learning, campers are bigger. You can't just do the quick turnarounds. You got to do loop systems. It's the number one thing that was kind of brought up when they're taking a look at all camping and all campgrounds is loop systems. Part of that is to do with the fact that you got bigger campers. The other part of it to do is sometimes the individuals driving the campers don't know how to back up a trailer anymore. So you got to create loop systems for easy accessibility type thing. So we'll have camping sites along the river, but in this park, we had a lot of the input we got was fixing the boat access area, boat parking on the land, group camping was a big proponent for Halverson Park, and then padded spots along the river was one of our other ones that we got. And so you can see we're trying to make sure we match both of those with our design here. We have site camping, but we also are leaving a large area for group camping because we know that's what a large group of our contingents want. So we're trying to figure out a way to balance both because our surveys show that both they want site camping and they want group camping. So we have to figure out a way to get both those into the thing and make it functional so everybody can use, kind of get what they want. And when it comes to the camping world, it's one way or the other. You're either a group camper or you're a site camper, and you're gonna argue the other side is worse than the other, but reality is we have to provide for both, and that's what we're trying to meet here with those aspects of it all. When we originally gave you guys cost estimates of this, one of the things that we did not have in there, and one of them that came up was our boat docks and our boat parking in the evenings is the number one, was a bigger concern. I want to say number one concern at this park was fixing the boat access area and parking. But actual overnight parking when you leave your boat in. Most of the people have to pull their boat out at this park due to the fact that there is no real boat parking for overnight. So the seawall / board boarding was brought up. So that brought an extra cost that we had not foreseen when we started doing research on this that is needed at that park. Our biggest benefit between Halverson and Interstate is the body of water that's there. If you've been up there on a Saturday or Sunday, the amount of boat traffic that occurs between Interstate and Halverson is huge. That's what brings the recreation in. That's what brings these campers in. We need to make sure we're providing that access for them type thing. So you can see the cost for Halverson Park there. The orange sites right now with the cost estimates we have are full hookup sites. So that way we can offer full hookups, water, sewer, electric. The other sites just have water and electric into them. That green area is called a quad pad. So basically how that is that's something that 4 campers can book at this one time and camp together and share the middle section type thing, which again, it goes with that group camping, but also gives that site aspect of it too. And then the large area of orange that's open where you see no actual sites around, that's where the group camping would occur, which you can fit up to. We put in there 12 trailers, but realistically, you could probably fit more than that in there depending on how you arrange them type thing. Flipping to the next page, you will see we've got Interstate Park. Interstate Park, it's a unique one just due to the fact of space is kind of limited, and then the contour of the park is not. It is a great park for where it's located, but figuring out ways to make it work is very hard to do. The pricing and stuff in there, again, the boat mooring and wall was one of those that started coming up after we started looking into this. New shower house facility was the number one thing listed in here. Halverson Park already has a new shower house. That's why this one's a little higher is the shower house. Wi-Fi and internet was the next biggest thing that we had, was the biggest issue at the thing. Keep group camping was high rated on this park. Boat parking was another one. Large tree request on this one was the keeping of the large trees. There's a concern out there from citizens that we were going to cut all the trees down. I don't know where that came from. That was never our intent. For conservation, we want to save as many large trees as we can. We do understand with these renovations on these campgrounds, there's probably going to be some trees that have to come down, but our goal is not to start fresh where we cut all the trees. We want to leave as many mature trees as we can in there. And then the boat dock, seawall, again, boat parking, boat docks was one of the things that was brought up. So you can see we're creating loop systems on the upstream side of the dike. We cannot touch the dike. The dike is part of the hydro dam, which has requirements that we must keep that intact. So you can see nothing was done with the dike. But on the upstream side, we're keeping large informal group camping as one of the priorities on that side of the park. We do have some slotted spots in there for site camping, but that could definitely be switched over to group camping, and it's going to be more discussed by the board as we move forward. We're trying to keep everything where the beach area is as a day use area. Except for maybe adding some actual parking spots for cars and stuff for the day area. On the downstream side of the dike, where the dark green, you can see we're creating a loop system there. We're reopening that road there, which we've had conversations with the city of Mitchell, and they haven't really had any concerns about reopening that, and then creating site spots on that side of the campground. So we're maximizing both what people's wants are. We're getting a large area of group camping, but we're also providing group or site camping as well too. And then improving the kayak canoe access as one area that people brought up. It's not in great shape now. It does need a touch up. And then playgrounds and shelters at the facility as well too. These are Halverson Park, out of the 3 parks we're looking at, is definitely the most popular. Interstate Park has the opportunity to go up if we do the right things. The number one thing that's driving that thing down is the shower house and internet accessibility. And then we need to upgrade the things in the park to bring the people back to the campground. The one that has the most potential, and I would match the same aspect of what happened at Riverside type of potential. Riverside Park was not a very popular park. It's not by a big community type thing. Otrano campground is the exact same. It's not a very big park, but has a lot of opportunity with what the drawing and plan that's been come up with. As you can see, we're now maximizing the area that the Hoffman House that we ended up acquiring here several years back with the wildlife area. Again, a little history lesson there that we had to buy the house as part of the buying the entire property, and that was given to the conservation board at a discount because they wanted to see it preserved type thing. Sold to the conservation board at a discount because they wanted to see the whole area preserved. And so maximizing that use of being able to use that driveway and that area as camping, because we can. And so we're creating a new loop system all the way through, maximizing the amount of sites. Everything in orange, as you can see, would be full hookups, which is something that would be greatly added. And the nice thing about all that is it's out of the floodplain. If you see on the map, you can see the orange and blue lines there, which keep us on the high side, and that's where the shower house facility would be, and then those full hookup sites would be up there as well too, along with the dump station. We still allow group camping up on the top end. The two number one things we got in there is new shower house facility, improve the boat access. As you can see, we're creating a new boat access on the upstream side. The existing boat access, unfortunately, does not function with the changeover of the dam. We do know there are individuals or people out there that are concerned with the water level at Otranto and what occurred there. As an Army Corps of Engineer and Iowa DNR thing, we have no control on the water level of the Cedar River. We were a part of the project. I don't want to deny that. The project happened before I here, so I don't know all the details on it, but I do know that the Iowa DNR and the Army Corps of Engineers are the ones that signed off on where the water level is at. The Conservation Board has no control over that dam structure or the water level at that park. We can't do anything about that. We were a part of the process of it. I don't want to deny that. We were a part of it, but when it comes to water level on the Cedar River and that is an Iowa DNR and Army Corps of Engineer thing. So while we were a part of that project and helped make that project happen, the control of what that is was out of our control, and the way it is now is the way it's going to sit. We can't control that. But what we can do is create a new access point up at the top there so that people can get on and enjoy the river aspect of it. Because where the current access is just not functional and feasible with the way that structure was set up. The dark blue areas, of course, those are future sites that we could add in the future, but we're not right now looking at it type thing. Conservation Board has kind of put a lot of time and effort into this over the course of the last, probably 4 or 5 months. We've taken public input, we've done public surveys, we were at the fair this last week taking input, we've been receiving phone calls, we've had great, on both sides of the fence on what people want to see type thing. Individuals that want to see group camping, individuals that want to see padded camping, to thoughts and concerns on how all this will be done, time frame for this. The number one thing that we did find that we were kind of shocked that is not included in this, and this comes from a lot of verbal talk at the fair this last week. The number one thing we heard at the fair was cabins. They'd like to see more cabins in our campground. We've explained to them during the concept, we placed areas where we could put cabins in the future, but the plans do not include cabins at this point in time, due to the fact that it's just going to cost a lot just to get the groundwork and driveways and all that sort of stuff done to start with. But cabins were was the number one thing that was brought up at the fair this last week, and we did get a lot of questions on that during our open house and things from there. These are concept plans, which has been what we're moving towards. The Conservation Board will be reviewing them next week. These are not like set in stone plans. We are using the cost estimates from there for you guys to utilize for the urban renewal plan, so that you guys will at least have some dollar amounts that you can discuss when you start looking at that as a possible funding source to make some of these happen. Again, we may change some minor things. I know there's been discussion on how the campsites sit and which way they will rotate versus facing the river versus not facing the river, that sort of stuff. Also how the boat parking and that sort of stuff will work as well too. Those are all things that can be changed as we go through, because the other thing that this is a concept plan. So we're trying to keep the price down on the concept plan drawings. We'll design these campsites and these group campings around the trees that are in there. Our goal is not to clear cut everything and start new. We want to leave the mature trees in there. These are just overlaying on what's there. We will then go, once we have the funding, we will actually go through engineer out an actual design based on these concepts so that we're not taking large mature trees down. We want shade in the park and go from there. To give you an understanding, Riverside Park was around $600,000 to do back in 2018, 2019, and I think we finished in 2020. We saw great benefits there. So we're using that as a template of how the numbers come when you're there to be able to utilize those aspects of it. Unfortunately, the problem is cost of everything just keeps going up. $600,000 in 2019 to 2020 is a lot different number than it is in 2025. We just know the cost of everything goes up. The other thing to bring up on this is if you flip back to Interstate Park. So the roadway that comes off the blacktop that goes into the campground. That is technically city property. It's owned by the city of Mitchell. But I can tell you, I don't have the actual statistics of it, but I'm willing to bet it's over 90% of the traffic on that road is for the campground, not for the city of Mitchell. It's people coming into the campground. There are residents that live on that road, but when I spoke with the city of Mitchell, they asked, is there any way that the road would be repaved? It hasn't been done. They didn't have an exact time frame. They thought it might be 20 some years. I don't know exactly when it is. But they asked, is there a way that the road could be included in the project and repaved on it type thing? I got the measurements. I had Rich look into it. Rich kind of thought it'd be around $50,000. I think it was like 44.4 or something like that. But that was depending on where the road actually stops being city and becomes county campground type thing with a base if it's 44 to 50. So we just put 50 in as a simple number and put it in there. That would have to be something that the conservation board or the supervisors would have to discuss if they want to include it in there. I included it in the pricing just so you'd have that number. Just so it would be included in the pricing. It can be removed type thing if we need to type thing. But in reality of it, my personal opinion, not the conservation boards, is yeah, I would assume that 90 to 95% of the traffic on that road is because of the campground. It's not because of the local residents, the 2 or 3 that live on the road. It's the amount of traffic that's bringing it into the park. So if there's a way to help the city out and make that something that we can do as part of the project, that would be ideal for that as well too.
So the number we see includes that.
The number you see includes that in the park upgrades. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, our big thing that we're trying to do this on is because we are trying to keep up with what is going on in the camping world across the state. We've seen the neighboring counties start to upgrade their campgrounds, so they are trying to stay ahead of what is happening with the millennials and the Gen Z. And it's just the way the camping world things evolve. Back when I was camping, when I was a kid, it was, pit toilet worked just fine. You just didn't shower for 4 or 5 days, and that's the way life worked. Unfortunately, that's not the way we work today. The RV sales are going a little bit differently, and they want all the amenities. They want what I call glam camping, and that's great. We like that. That's what they want, but we've got to also make sure we provide the things that they want. And we've seen the numbers because Riverside Park and now Cedar Bridge Park right outside west of Osage, they're full all the time because we have the site amenities and the things that they want. These parks, Helverson does get good numbers in there, but we do get a lot of questions on, full hookups and other amenities that we can do in there. And Interstate's been on a decline because of the shower house and the internet access. We need to upgrade those parks to go from there. And then our thing return would be Otranto Park. It's kind of like Riverside Park. It's by a small community, Otranto. It's definitely going to draw a lot of people from Minnesota. We do know we draw from Minnesota quite a bit due to the fact that we can get it from there. And then anything we can do to help ourselves out in the future is going to be beneficial for the county. So that's all I got. Local questions, where I'm at now.
So you had talked about, with me about the canoeing or kayaking route that starts up on the Minnesota side.
Yep.
In your grant, maybe you can share a little bit of that, the uniqueness
We are
of that.
working with the DNR to try and create a better access up at the Minnesota state line. Can't go into much detail on that, but to create an access, we have an access there, but to improve the access that's there, so that way we can have, this would become a larger, more used river route for kayakers, tubers, not as much boaters just due to the shallowness of the river, but kayaking and tubing type thing. So we are working on that. We do have a grant in place to try and help us with that. So we're working through all those avenues to try and make that happen. So this could become a loop section, just like it is from, if you go from Mitchell or Interstate Park to all the way down to T38. That's kind of a nice loop system we got there. Acorn down to St. Ansgar is another loop system we have. The Cedar River here, I think it was about 5 years ago, the Mitchell County Conservation got the Cedar River in Mitchell County as part of a river trail system. So we are listed in Iowa as a river trail system through the entire county. Not every river is a river trail system. You have to have X amount of designated public access points. You have to have X amount of miles, and then you have to have portage around any structures. St. Ansgar, you got the dam. Mitchell, you got the dam. You got to have portage around those aspects of it. So we are listed on those, which is ways we are opening doors to get grant sources to improve these accesses, just like what we're doing out here with T38 and 2 poles, and then also partnering with the city of Osage for Spring Park. Because we are there's only a handful of rivers and sections of those rivers that are on the water access trails. We are one of them, so we're utilizing that, and we know we can increase that by getting a better access up at the Minnesota Trail, and then improving the access here is going to create that loop system. Put in at the Minnesota border, flow it down to Otrano Park, and get yourself a nice 3-4 hour, depending on water level flow.
So that boat parking and ramp for Otrano is way on the north edge of that whole
It is.
proposal. It's not where we're anywhere near the current
Correct.
system is.
Yep, so it's the dark green up there. It's
Yep.
on the north end. We put it on the north end for accessibility. When the water did change off of what that dam project was, unfortunately, that did create a large sandbar right next to the riverbank that the park owns. And unfortunately, trying to get something through there would be extremely long, and then it just wouldn't be very feasible either. So going up to the north side is our best option type thing, because the other area up there, the tree area, you can see there where it says existing beach, that area is a floodplain. There's sand in there from floods and past. We don't want to stick anything in there. It's just, that's where the current comes when we get high water. So sticking it in there is not going to be feasible type thing.
So there isn't any really beach area included in the Otrano plan at all, correct?
No, the existing beach area is still there.
Right, but yeah,
In that area, we want to improve the beach that's there, but like, we're not moving the beach any direction.
Right.
That one
Right.
area is still the same. So all three campgrounds would still have a beach area. Interstates and Otranos would stay where they're currently located. Helversons would be slid down into the more day use area
Yep.
so that site can be utilized for site camping.
What would work best for you as far as bidding these out? Do you want to bid these out so one contractor is doing all three of them?
You know, our ideally situation is that the conservation board would stay, act like the general contractor. That way we can do local bids to local plumbers, electricians, earthwork, that sort of stuff. We want to keep the money as local as possible. If we bid it out as one big project, there's most likely the opportunity that someone from outside the county gets the bid and then they bring in their own contractors, subcontractors to do the earthwork, electrical work, plumbing work. Which then, you know, we're still getting the project done, but unfortunately the money's going outside the county. We like to work locally and try and keep it in-house as best as we can. It's what we did at Halverson Park, or Riverside Park. We worked with all the local contractors. We still did bids, so that way it's fair. Everybody got an opportunity to bid on the project and then they could come in and do it. But we feel that's the best way right now for us to move forward with that aspect of it. Again, we want to keep the money local and allow the local contractors to have an opportunity.
So working with the general then, being the general, would you focus on one or two campgrounds, or would you close them all down and do them all?
Yeah, a lot of that would depend on when the funding is made available type thing. If the funding is made available, we can move forward with, we can start setting a plan as if these projects are gonna happen, you know, as early as late this fall or into the next spring timeframe type thing. We try and make sure we minimize the amount of time that we're shut down, because we know people wanna recreate at these type of things. We can set an alternate path where maybe, you know, Helverson's happening at this time, and then maybe that's late this fall, we're doing interstate and next spring finishing out interstate, and that way Helverson's there for camping, and then next fall we'll do Helverson type thing as interstate's wrapping up, so the camping numbers are there. Otrano, we can kind of squeeze in there at any time, because again, you can ship people that are, if you're not camping, if Helverson is not campable, you hopefully then can camp at interstate. If interstate's being redone, you can camp at Helverson, so you're just shifting them from here to there until both are done, and then Otrano, we can do it any time and knock that one out as we go from there. And one thing on this is the pricing that we're giving you folks. This is pricing as if everything's gonna be taken care of by contractors that we feel that in-house, we can do a lot of work on the earthwork, digging the trenches, laying that sort of stuff. We can't do the actual electrical work, but we can dig the trenches and lay the wire, but we cannot connect the wires. There's state laws and stuff on that, same way with the plumbing. But we can do a lot of the work and hopefully knock some of that pricing maybe down as well too. But we gotta make sure we got time and stuff to do it. But yeah, we can alternate and shift stuff and knock this out. But time frame would be based on when funding is available. If it's available this fall, we could definitely start on one of the parks this fall and then knock them out as fast as possible.
And so you being a general contractor, that just make it a lot easier for, rather than having a contractor with working days locked into weather. just makes it easier for you people.
Yep. And that's what happened at Riverside is we kind of were the general, we bid everything out, like the electrical, the plumbing, the construction of the shower house facility, all that sort of stuff. We bid it out separately and it worked out fine. We'd like to do that too, because again, our main focus on that is, yeah, we know it's gonna be a lot more work for the staff, for myself and that, but that's okay. We'd rather see that than the money go outside the county. If we can work locally, we want to work locally as best as possible.
And if you're gonna possibly do some of the work yourselves, then that's something you can discuss as the director with your guys as far as well and tackle this part of it. And then
Contractor's gotta be responsible for this type of thing. Yep.
these could be not to exceed amounts, but there's a possibility you'd be able to get this lower for us.
Correct, that would be our goal. I would recommend if you're looking at this, use these as your not to exceed amounts, and then our goal would be to figure out a way to make it now so that we don't hit those numbers on the lower end, so we can try and stay below them with us doing some in-house work.
That would be good.
Yep.
So if we could focus on, let's say, a couple of your high priorities right now on each of those parks, is that something that you would possibly do or that your conservation board would consider? Say, looking at, let's say, Halverson Park, could we go in there and correct that boat access and correct, I realize that when you're talking about updating the loop, you're gonna have to do all of that at once. Could you update the boat access and the loop? And, let's say on Halverson, and is it something you can, I believe it's probably something you can do in phases? Or
Yeah,
is that,
everything is set up so it can be done in phases, so you can see the color coordination is almost
Right.
like a phase type setup on that aspect.
Yeah.
If the supervisors only give us X amount of money, then the conservation board would have to figure out what
Right.
phases they're going to do type thing. It'd be up to the conservation board on what phases are done.
right,
But it's gonna be based on what we get for funding to be able to do. So, to answer your question, yeah, if you only gave us like $200,000, then we're only gonna be able to do $200,000 of upgrades, and the
Right.
conservation board's gonna have to figure out what phase is gonna be able to.
which part to focus on and
Yep.
what.
But then understand, I mean, our goal on this is you wanna do it one time. You start doing it in phases, people get annoyed if they have to always deal with, a prime example would be driving around the city of Osage right now. I think everybody's getting tired of road construction. Public's not gonna like it if the campground's always being torn up every year because we're trying to do
Sure.
another phase type thing. So we
I
wanna just keep
understand.
that in mind. Knock off a bigger chunk, but yeah, if you couldn't do the full amount, you wanted to do multiple phases. That's why it's in color coordination, they are phased out type thing.
I'd also ask Mike if he could provide in the next week or so what the occupancy percentage is of all the parks that you have in Mitchell County now.
Oh, I
think
thought
that would-
your text message said neighboring counties. Is it possible to get numbers of available spots at other county campsites in the range?
Oh, I meant our county.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, when you said other. I
Yeah,
heard it
I'm
hold up.
sorry. Well, and even Halverson, or those three parks now, I guess if you could get what our occupancy is now, that might,
Yeah,
that might help us a little bit
so you're
as
just
well.
kind of looking for like how many people are in the campground on a regular basis?
Right,
That's what you're
so,
looking for.
yeah,
And then our
exactly.
rates on it are it's $20 a night at these three campgrounds is the
Yep.
rate. So it's $20 a night, or if you stay 7 nights, you get 1 night free, so you pay $120.
Yeah.
So that's what you were looking for? I saw other counties.
Yeah,
so I was
yeah,
like,
that was my error. I
That's
should
there, okay.
I meant the other campgrounds within the county. So, yeah, if we could, because sometimes I drive past the one just west of Osage here and it doesn't look like that's full. And, Stacyville's, we've got 19 spots that are full-time.
Yeah, so at Stacyville, we have 40 sites
Yep.
at the park, and we have 16 that are permanent.
16.
Yep, 16. We try and keep it around that, less than half.
Yep.
So the rest are open for the public to either come first serve or book online type thing. We have found that the booking online is becoming more and more of a thing. We know locally wise, locals don't like the online reservation thing more, but But when we're trying to draw for tourism,
Yep.
county conservation boards and Iowa Tourism has started partnering up in the last few years because Iowa Tourism has found that the county conservation boards is where most of the recreational opportunities are in the state. What they're finding is online, they don't want to drive from Austin, Albert Lee, Mason City, all the way over here with a 30-foot camper and then all of a sudden get to the park and there's not a spot for them, so they want to book online.
Yep.
But yeah, Monday through Wednesday, you're not gonna see a lot of people in the campground over on West Bridge, but as you get to Thursday, Friday, then the campground starts filling up on a regular basis. But yeah, we have full hookups there, at Riverside, and that's where 16 sites are always booked type thing.
Always booked, yeah.
The possibility of that is here for these three campgrounds, and then we just did a septic upgrade at Cedar Bridge. So next year, there's been talk, the Conservation Board will be looking at, there's five or six sites now that have full hookups that we're maybe going to allow
Full,
seasonal camp.
yeah.
And the thought process is at Halverson and Otrano, there would be a possibility of having that aspect of it too. That does seem to be where some funding opportunities is, because people want to be able to pull in, park, and not have to pull out unless there's a flood issue type thing.
Right.
But people understand when you camp in a campground next to the river, there is going to be flooding, and sometimes you just have to pull out at the last second when things go bad. But yeah, like I said, I do plan to get, I'll change my strategy and get the right
No,
numbers
that
for
was-
you.
That was my
And if you phone
fault
calls this
there.
morning, so now I'll call you back.
for not
No,
being
gonna
clear.
give you the numbers. But that's okay,
So-
we'll get it. So, but yeah, no, we'll get you some numbers, some occupancy numbers and stuff like that.
That would be great.
And stuff like that. But we do have 6 campgrounds, in the county. 2 of them, we've done some nice upgrades to, and we've seen the benefit of Riverside and Cedar Bridge. These are the next 3 that we feel is there. Our last campground is Pioneer Park. It's a lot more rural. We like the way it is. We know we can do some small upgrades out there. We're not saying we're just not taking care of it. But there are some small upgrades that we can do out there, but we don't need an overhaul to that campground. But
Right.
the amount of people that we're gonna draw for that campground isn't there. These 3 have the opportunity to increase like Riverside did, and that's what we wanna see.
Where does the camping revenue go?
The camping revenue goes back to the general fund, so it helps offset the conservation board's tax asking, so the money does go back. We're one of the few entities that can make the county money type thing, revenue type thing, so that money does go back into the general fund.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Do we need action on this?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think so, yeah, I wondered why, yeah,
all right.
I just, yeah, I put that on there, but I guess,
just, yeah.
yeah, we don't need action.
Meetings attended?
I did not have anything.
All right, and then?
I didn't have any meetings, but I do want to share that I had several young 4-H and FFA members and their parents or families approach me at the county fair and wanted to express a thank you to the Board of Supervisors for assisting with the new show facility there that houses the hogs, the sheep, the poultry, and the rabbits. They've got a few quirks to work out with the ventilation maybe and pen placement. But they did an awesome job of announcing at each of those shows to thank the Board of Supervisors for their input in that project. And I wanted to share that with the board and the community. So
That's good to hear. I appreciate that.
very nice facility.
I had a county social service meeting, pretty short. All we had to do was authorize some bill and timesheets that those 3 people are left working. Iowa Workforce, they had a job fair for John Deere in Winnebago. They closed, lost a bunch of jobs, and much discussion on the merger with the counties and that eastern part of the state. So,
No, I had a FMC ECI meeting. It was also short, just to review and approve the 25-26 preschool scholarships. So we had to get that going so they could start, it's August already, so they can start giving the families the applications. So There are a few things different on the new guide. But I think it's, as near as we can see, it's just it'll take the parents a little longer and it's just a little more of a review for the groups to look at. And then, I had the fair board, or the fair this week that I worked at every day. Just, early numbers in the grandstands. Thursday was, a little over 2,100. Friday was 1,500. And Saturday was about just under 1,800. Thursday's 2,100. It was so packed that they go in the pits, it's like a $5 extra than it is to sit in the stands. They offered anybody in the stands a wristband to go into the pit side to free up some spots so the aisles would clear out. It was amazing. And I forgot, after Pam had said that, people wanted to thank the supervisors. There was several thank you cards in the Fair Board building that people dropped off and thanked the fair, or the supervisors, for the new building. Pam, with Pam saying some of the issues, we have a chalkboard full of
Oh, yeah,
what to do, how to set things up.
First
next
year.
And, yeah, it went over pretty good. And then Friday night's band was the first time they had been here, and we had to kick people out because the band said they'd keep playing for free. And verbally, they're already booked for next year, so hopefully.
well, and the first night was so wet out in the grandstands that they had to bring a band from the cities, is that right?
Yeah.
And they still had great attendance, so that's awesome. It was nice to see.
Yeah, and then the DJ on Thursday night, what was that, the tough trucks, I'm so mixed up.
Yeah. Thursday night was the
Yeah,
one they had.
he was supposed to play 5 to 10 or 11, depending on how long that went. But there was 95 or 6 tough trucks, and so it went a little bit later, and he stayed till about 11:45, because once the stands emptied, they all came over to the DJ. And I gotta tell you too, Johnny Walker, who's been here several times, on Friday night, him and his wife were down there and at the band, and he said they live above Subway, they own that building. And they had the deck out on the back, and they sat there until the band quit, just because they could hear it, and it was such a good band, so that was kind of nice to hear too, so. Anyway, that was it.
The fireworks were pretty good.
Yeah,
I didn't see them, but I definitely, they sounded very good.
yeah, everybody should thank Moskex, because I think they shoot off more than what's paid for.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
Public comments? No? Okay. We'll adjourn the meeting at 9:28. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Lindsay.
Yeah.